Great. So you're very welcome to this evening's Relaxation with Tom McKenna once again. And I hope that you had a chance to join us earlier for the nutrition event that we did with Martin Ford. So, Tom, how are you this evening?
All great, Jamie. All really good. And I hope everybody out there is feeling well. This evening's session, we're going to have a look at how relaxation ties in with healing. Now, we've covered that subject before in different aspects. So I'm going to want to have a look at how the release of the energy, your own energy or supply source, or the energy that drives the body and the mind, how releasing that out into the world and even out to you physically and mentally transforms everything that it touches. So I'd like to look at the idea that if, for instance, my background is yoga, and the word yoga means union, and the union they talk about is union with life. And one of the prerequisites of somebody who practices yoga proficiently is that they have an energy emanating from them, which goes out to other people and to circumstances and transforms those circumstances positively. Um, and in this sort of business, if you want to use a term like that, you couldn't really refer to yourself as a yogi unless you could do that. You would be a very poor example of a yogi if nothing came out of you from an energy point of view, and you had not had didn't have the ability to transform situations that you found yourself in positively. So that's the territory, if you like, that I'd like to look at, because
Yeah.
one of the ways that a person who practices yoga would develop the ability to increase their life force to such an extent that it would spill over from them to other people and create a situation where the person could actually practice as a psychotherapist or healer, on the basis that they understood the mechanism for releasing that energy. And as a consequence of that, then people would be transformed if they spend time in that person's company.
Hmm.
And that's what the therapy was actually like. What you were doing was you were spending time with a group of people, and in that time span, you were teaching them how to do a level of relaxation that freed out their energy,
Hmm.
because a lot of the problems that the person would have would be stress related, as we said last week, which suppresses that energy. So you would teach the person to release that energy through relaxation, through letting go of those tensions, and that energy is freed out. In yoga, particularly hatha yoga, where they use exercises, the exercises are designed to free out the pathway through
Hmm.
which that energy passes through the body, or it's from a medical point of view, they would be referring to the different glands in the
Glad,
body
yeah.
that are gateways through which the energy passes.
That's
Um,
one of the reasons I've always loved being involved in the Duco gym is because of the focus on energy, and because often a gym or a nutrition program is more about maybe focusing on shape, but it often is at the expense of the person's energy and overall health. And so what we're talking about here is a totally different level of health and well-being and energy, which is more energy is more life.
yeah, and that's exactly it, because more energy is more life. And
Mm.
in fairness, in the last year, I think people have, I suppose, been under quite a bit of pressure. Their lifestyle, what they would normally do day to day, has been severely restricted. And the consequences of that basically is that they would feel mentally under quite a bit of pressure. And what you find when you're talking to people is then that they just don't have the energy that they would normally have. Um, and they don't feel very positive day to day. And so over a period of time, then you find that with people, when that happens, um, if that's not dealt with adequately, it can lead to a level of depression which is quite destructive to their lifestyle, and also affects the people in the family around them. And it's something that uh, I would be aware of in relation to the relaxation. And this is why when Jamie asked me to give him a hand with that end of it, I was more than happy to do it, because I felt that as this dragged on, more and more people would find it difficult to keep a positive mindset. So the relaxation um, is designed to free out that energy, and the nature of that energy is very positive. You don't have to try to maintain what you would call a positive mental state. You just have to release the energy itself, which has a positive direction in it, built into it. So the actual amount of energy as it passes through your body and through your mind transforms you physically and mentally in a very, very positive way. And that to me would be a form of healing. So in other words, the person is prevented from descending into a level a level of mindset that is not particularly conducive to them feeling well. So therefore, if you reverse that and you release that energy out, that creates this very positive state of mind where you feel physically and mentally very, very well, regardless of what's actually happening around you, in the sense that with the virus and so on, where people are very restricted, you find that you just feel exceptionally well, because that energy is almost radiating out from you all the time. And if that's actually happening, it's like it fills where you are. So regardless of whether you're in isolation in your home, and or even in isolation with a group of people, as in home for elderly people and so on, once you're able to do the relaxation to a deep enough level, and that frees out the energy. Now, the beautiful part about it is age has got nothing to do with it. This is this is the really marvelous thing. And I've had people come along to the therapy when I was involved in that end of things, in their 70s and 80s, and it was the first time they ever experienced that energy in the whole length of time that they were alive. Maybe with the brief exception of when, something extremely exciting happened in their lives and they felt really well. But on a day-to-day basis, they just had no experience of that. And many, many times people come up to me like, just would be saying, God, if I'd known this when I was in my 20s and 30s, life would be so much different. And that's what I like, I suppose, about it, is that if as many people as possible can understand how to do the relaxation, that frees out that energy, and they begin to have a relationship with that energy. They begin to learn about themselves at a level that they possibly maybe never really knew was there. For most people, it's a very big surprise to them to find that there is this energy inside that has the ability, on release, to transform their lives and to have such a dramatic effect on them physically and mentally. And that's, to me, I feel, well, everybody in the world needs to know that. They need to know that they have a source of life, that it has the power to transform their lives. And in fairness to people, and this is why, even at my age, if you like, I'm still super enthusiastic about people knowing about this, because I think they've come through a system which has deprived them of this understanding. It's almost as if it was designed to keep it from them. And I would think that the structures that we come through, the programs that we have to come through from when we're a child and as we grow up, does seem to take that life from us when we're very young. It's like you can see it in the child, and the child is bouncing with life and energy. And then as they grow up, it's like the lights go out. Mm-hmm. And I find that very sad. I find that part very sad, because I think that a human being has the right to have that available to them, and for it to grow stronger and stronger and stronger, not weaker and weaker and weaker. So whatever that system is that deprives them of that, I'm against it. So I don't know what they call it, but anything that locks down a person's life and doesn't allow it the freedom of expression, I'm against that. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And so I feel that anything that I can do to allow the person to understand what an incredible treasure that they have locked up inside, that can be released by a simple technique like relaxation, to the extent that it can transform their lives. I think that, you know, if that's what it takes for me to reach other people and to remind them that they have that there. I mean, that's why every week, and I'm sorry it sounds like a plug, and that's how I probably see it. That's why I feel that the seminars have been so much value to myself and Jamie here, obviously, as well, but the many people out there have attended the seminars, because it has shown them that energy is there. And then through the procedures during the 10 or 12 days that they're there, has allowed them access to it and introduced them to their own life. And to me, that's invaluable. And the more a person is able to release that energy, the more they can transform their lives. And even to the extent that we're doing it here, where we spend maybe 15 or 20 minutes in the relaxation, and gradually over a period of time, you begin to notice more and more of that energy surfacing. And then you find that you have, it has a positive effect on you physically. You start to feel much better. And mentally, in particular, you start to feel much more directed. You feel like you've got a purpose. You feel like you're going to be able to fulfill that purpose. And this energy is driving the person on. So it's kind of like you become aligned with your own purpose in life, because that energy, when it came into the world, if you like, it had a direction and a purpose of its own, which was your direction. Leaving aside anything that was put on you as you were growing up, which maybe had nothing to do with what you were supposed to be doing in the first place, but suddenly you found that you're diverted off to one side, and this diminishes then your energy. Now, the reason that it diminishes your energy is that it's not your direction. You're not actually fulfilling your purpose, if you like. So it's like the energy is not expressing itself into that, because that's not where you're supposed to be. So once you start doing the relaxation and you start to let go of the stresses associated with pursuing something that has nothing to do with you, which is a big stress, believe it or not, much more than people realize, you find then that the energy starts flooding into the system and into the mind, because now you're more in alignment, and it wants that. That's what it's looking for, because it's going to gain expression. It's going to come into the world. It's going to get a chance to come into the world. And that's why I'm so enthusiastic about it, because I think that if the person is able to align themselves with that, then it's almost like it looks after you.
Yeah.
Because you're now in alignment, so therefore you get the benefit of aligning with your life and with life itself. what kind of runs the show, if you like. So you're in alignment with that, and that brings in a type of protection, um, where the person feels that they are looked after. And stage, you will find that your life starts to take on um, a new direction, which seems to produce a level of happiness and satisfaction with life that you maybe never experienced before. And to me, I think that's phenomenal. I think that part to me is when I see it in a person. Any of the seminars that I've been on, it's always phenomenal to see a person when they're freed out, when they
Yeah.
suddenly realize their potential and what they could do with their lives. And maybe they've struggled all their lives uh, trying to figure it out, and they could never
Yeah.
maybe work out why things weren't working out the way they thought that they should. And then there's this tremendous sense of relief from the person, and they feel, oh my God, the world is my oyster, and I can do what I really want to do. And I think that's the bigger picture, if you like. Um, so just looking at a relaxation in its very, maybe lowest level, you release an energy that will transform you physically and mentally. But then if you open the floodgates, then on everything that you're doing physically and mentally, and then out into the world itself. And if you notice when we're directing you through the relaxation, I say that you can feel the energy coming from you. It goes out from you to everybody belonging to you. Then it goes out from them to everyone belonging to them. And it's like a wave of gold passing out over the whole world. Like it's a huge, huge wave that transforms everything that it touches. So you're going from learning to do a tiny bit of relaxation, which releases a lot of stress, to releasing this massive amount of energy, which is the potential of a person to transform everything that they're involved in. But it can become worldwide. So the person is not ineffective, but has a tremendous effect. Each person, by
Yeah.
releasing their own life force out into the world, has a tremendous effect on how the world is actually doing, and what may happen really at the
Absolutely.
end of the day in the world.
Yeah, and because often people wonder what sort of impact that they could have, and they more wrongly than anything else, they assume that they can't have that kind of impact, and it's so important to realize that the expression of that energy really can make that difference.
Exactly, and I think that's, to me, the main purpose of doing the relaxation and spending time with you on this is for people to come to that realization. And once they do that, then they start to take up their position in the world, and that's a very, very important thing. And um, you know what I like about it is that there's no barriers. Your religion, your politics, your color, your sexuality, nothing has any, it's got nothing to do with um, you expressing your true nature, which is wonderful. So there's no barriers to it. Person, you don't have to pay any attention to any of that. You just release your life force, and it has a direction of its own. And basically, once you align with that, then your whole life changes. So it can be very, very, very dramatic. So that's what I like about it. Now, that's why I tend to mention each week about the seminar, because if a person was really interested in it to that degree, I'm sure you would understand that you may need to spend a little bit of time exploring it to become proficient, as in at a
Absolutely.
different level. But certainly the relaxation that we're doing now would have a major effect on your overall health, physically and mentally. And it will certainly have a terrific effect on the people that you are surrounded by or come into contact with day after day, because that energy is coming from you all the time.
Yeah.
That that, believe it or not, is the purpose of a human being, is to have the ability to let go of the stresses that shrink you in as a person, and to be able to expand out, which allows that energy out into the world. And that means that it's going to be able to transform the people in your life as well. And that's a part of the expression of a human being, that they have the ability to transform everything that they touch positively.
Yeah, and I think anybody listening to this, it also makes logical sense, because when you're not thinking things that are maybe causing you to feel lower or maybe more depressed, and you let those
Yeah.
go, naturally you get a brightness, or people will notice a brightness in you, or you'll notice that you're much lighter, and that obviously can have an effect. I mean, you can imagine what it's like when you're around children and you're that attitude as opposed to absorbed in something else. It's like watching people when they're absorbed in devices or whatever, and they're not really participating with people, or participating. It's the same. I mean, we're talking essentially about the same thing, aren't we? So that people can relate to it,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
just different levels of it.
yeah, yeah. So, like, as you would find if you pursued it from a seminar point of view, Tony would look at the whole idea of what programs do you ascribe to yourself. And so what you find in the seminar is you spend time looking at the types of programs that you're running in your mind continuously. And as you learn to recognize them, you then begin to be able to pull the energy out of them. Because you learn something very interesting in the seminars, and that is that you're in charge of where the energy goes.
Yeah.
And people normally, particularly people who can get depressed, are of the opinion that these thoughts have a power of their own, and they just come to get them. And
Yeah.
they haunt them for days on end, and they have no control over it whatsoever. And in actual fact, the truth is that you're the power source. And what you learn from the seminars is that you learn that you can pull the plug, and the thoughts have no energy of their own, and they dissolve. And that's the simple thing that you learn from the relaxation, that for a brief amount of time, you pull the plug on the thoughts that you normally operate. And the effect of that is that you feel very relaxed all of a sudden. So you pull the plug on the thoughts, and suddenly you feel very relaxed. And during that relaxation, where there's a gap in the thoughts, the gap is filled with life. And you begin to experience it. You feel that life passing through the body and through the mind. And that's the transforming effect. So you learn what people go to the seminar nearly to do, is to learn how to operate themselves for best effect. Because we just don't know enough about mentally how we operate. And therefore, in fairness to people, they're not sure what they would do to transform themselves, to get themselves back out of the situation they find themselves in, because they just don't know how to operate themselves.
Yeah.
So a large part of the seminar is where you look at how you operate yourself for best effect. That's what I find fascinating, because as people begin to understand themselves, they take control of their circumstances. So they're actually in charge suddenly, and they may never have been up to that, because they just didn't know how to do it. And that part I find, when you see people come to that realization, it's absolutely fantastic. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You know, so
It's like
in
a
a
freedom.
small way, yeah, I know it is. So in a small way, with the relaxation, we're attempting to do a version of what people would dedicate 10 solid days to. In a, now, we don't expect we don't expect you to get to the level that you would get to on a sound. Even a change in how you operate can have a dramatic effect. Like when I was involved in the therapy end of things, after maybe 2 or 3 weeks, people would suddenly find themselves able to relax to a very deep level. Now, once they got to that level and the energy was released, now, in fairness, my job as a therapist was to also do the relaxation and to release the energy into the room. So they were getting their own energy release and then a shot in the arm from my energy release, if you like. So that kind of like doubles up on it. And you suddenly find then that problems that they had where they were maybe very unwell, it would just turn the whole thing around. But the secret was to just continue to relax more and more and more, and the energy takes over more and more and more, and that has a transforming effect on a condition that is caused by being out of alignment with life in the first place. So sickness is being out of alignment with life itself, and it's not the person's fault because they have no idea how to stay in alignment because nobody's ever discussed it with them, and they never learned it in school or anywhere else. So it's suddenly a news to them that they're out of alignment, and as they do align themselves again, they find they start to feel so much better. But it can have a dramatically positive effect on even the most serious of problems. Yeah. So the relaxation that we're doing can have a very dramatic effect from a healing point of view on people. And so if you are struggling with areas like that, I would like you to embrace the relaxation enthusiasm and spend time at that rather than pursuing worry about your circumstances. Understandable, but not constructive. That's the only.
And Tom, how long did you work as a healer and in therapy?
It must have been about 15 years, maybe longer. I'd have to go through the dates again, but at least 15 years.
Yeah.
And in that time now, I would have seen, I don't know, maybe certainly over 100,000 people, maybe more, in that length of time. Because wow. I would often from 9 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock at night, and you would see somebody every 15 minutes, and then you would see groups of people, 30 and 40 people, maybe 3 times in the evening as well. And so that went on for years. So you would get, people were not showing up because there was no results. Do you understand?
Exactly.
They were not.
I do.
Or you weren't bringing your friend down if you were still in agony with the pain in your back that you came in with in the first place. That wasn't going to happen. So it's only on the basis that people had done very well that they told other people about it, and that's how it grew. So, and a lot of the time, I have to be honest with you, you were dealing with situations that were were with people for a very long time, and they had been treated medically for quite a period of time, and it had no effect. So you were basically dealing with a person who was mentally beaten by the system. You have to understand. So if you're going along for the first time to a doctor, anybody, not a much different attitude to somebody who's been to 6 doctors and they still have a problem. They're in despair. So a lot of the time I was getting people along who were close to despair, and to pull them back from despair and get them into a situation where they had a positive mental attitude towards what they needed to do in itself was a massive transformation. And so in other words, I wasn't getting the handy people to look after people who were struggling for quite a long period of time. Because as a therapist, even though I'm qualified as a psychotherapist, you're getting people after they have spent a lot of time in, I suppose, now I have no problem with that part, because what happened for me was that in some cases, people went back to the doctors after they'd been with me for a period of time, and they had done so well that the doctor started referring people to me. So I have no problem. A lot of the people that came along to me for various types of problems were sent to me by their doctor. So after a period of time, you develop, you get a name, if you like, for being able to look after various situations, and then you find that the person would be often then referred if they have a similar situation, if you've done really well with them. So that happened quite a bit. That's why.
And can I ask you just then very briefly, maybe it's something we might discuss. I think we're going to maybe do one more session in 2020. But how did you find that the training and nutrition combined with that for you? So because just to relate it to the gym and the difference that made.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I've kind of trained all the time from the beginning, from the very start. When I started in the yoga classes, it was quite funny in a way, because I'd been doing yoga myself at home and practicing all the exercises and so on. And I was a typical, I suppose, yogi in the sense that I was skinny as anything, and I could do all sorts of exercises and so on. So I go along anyway to the first class that Tony gave. And I'm thinking, this guy is going to be one of these Indian guys, and he's going to be rolling in, and he's going to be as skinny as me, and he's going to be doing all these exercises. And I go in anyway, and there's this guy in a white polo neck, and he's got 17-inch arms and 50-inch chest. I'm going, this couldn't be the fella that's going to do these the exercises. He's going to be muscle bound, and he can't do any of these things. And that was my first introduction to Tony. And he was just winning a contest, and he was huge. Like by comparison, I was like the bit that fell off him. You know what I mean? It was like, this is ridiculous. But all it took was one class. He went through the class and said what yoga really was, which I had not got a clue about, having read as many books as I've read about it. But he was talking about self-realization and understanding the mind and so on at a level that had not been discussed in the books. They were referring to it, but it was something that you had to go and sit on a mountaintop for 20 years if you wanted to know anything about it. But then he hopped into his leotards and started doing all these exercises, and he could do them better than I could do day of the week. So once I saw that, after a very short time, I called around to his house, and he was in there throwing the weights around in the backyard, and I hopped in and tried to lift one of the weights and nearly killed myself. And all night training. So, so that's how the training started. So in other words, he would be very much of the opinion that that you needed to be in really good shape, do this type of work. And you also needed, and he felt that the weight training was particularly good for your growth hormone, and that's what kept the fats down and also held on to your lean tissue. And he spoke about that way back then, way back, way before any of these gyms came into existence. So it was no surprise to me when he designed the gym around that principle, because almost one of the first discussions I ever had with him was about training producing growth hormone. You see, it's tied in very strongly with the exercises, the yoga exercises affect the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, thyroid gland, and the adrenals. And they're all the glands that are affected by the weight training.
Sex glands.
And the sex glands. So they're all affected by that, and they balance your hormones. And that's what produces then the growth hormone. So the yoga exercises bring all of those glands into alignment, and they say that that's what allows the energy pass through the body. So a large part of that was like almost like a preparation for releasing that energy. And then obviously from day one in the yoga classes, we did relaxation sessions. We would do maybe a half an hour each time we went to the class. And then you began to experience the energy passing through the body. And then you began to experience the direction of that energy. And that allowed you then to understand that it had an alignment and a purpose of its own that was your purpose. So you kind of learned at that stage to try and follow that purpose and to try and line yourself up with that. So the diet and the exercises and the yoga exercises were all designed to align you with that energy inside.
And to
And
maximize
so,
it.
and to, yeah, and that's like we were all very young. I mean, we were in our 20s at that stage, and we were, I suppose, running around the place doing yoga classes all over the place. Like when we were in our 20s, we had 25 yoga classes in London, and we had the same again in Ireland, all over Ireland. And we were the first people who really did public yoga classes in Ireland for years and years before anybody really knew what yoga was.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a background in that area, but it's not what we would call tea and biscuit yoga, where you go along for a few exercises and you swan on home again and nothing much changes. Like if it's real and you do release that energy, there's a change then in the direction of your life, because you feel so well when you're aligned with that. You just want to pursue that and to find out how to get into alignment more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happened with the therapy was that people used to stay behind in the classes and ask us about problems they were having, or their relations, some of their kids or relations were having. And it got to the stage where we wouldn't get home till 1 o'clock in the morning. And what we decided to do then was to see them privately the next day. And that's how the therapy started. And we were out the door. I mean, there were people queuing up outside the door once they got to hear it was happening, and it just went on from there. Tony started to do the healing first, and then he said, well, look, you go ahead with that now because you're able to do that. So I went on and I did that from then on. So that's how it started. But that's based on what I said at the very beginning, that if you are going to call yourself a yogi or a person who practices yoga, well, you better be able to dispense this energy, because otherwise you're just a tea and biscuit merchant. That's not that's something we look down on, and have to be honest with you, because we don't feel that that's not what it's all about at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
You know,
No.
obviously,
Real
like
deal.
I went on with the training and won a few contests myself.
Yep.
But obviously, I'm back down to the skinny yogi now at this stage. At my age, this is a much safer weight for me than the weight you are. You know, you have to, kind of, you have to cut your
I'm getting
cloth.
heavier.
Well, no, it's great, and I love all that training, and I love
Me too.
when the guys kind of get into the best shape of their lives. And I mean, the first discussion we had about this with you, Jamie, was you were a golfer and you wanted to get your handicap down, and I was sitting at the table. I remember it distinctly, and I put on stone, and you were horrified. You stone, I won't be able to swing.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be muscle bound and not going to be able to get any turn. I was going to be stuck.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And
lo and behold, it wasn't true.
no, exactly. But you know now that all the guys are weight training, every one of
Absolutely.
them,
All of them. Yeah.
all training, and they're all in great shape. And a lot of them used not to be in good shape.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more unusual to see somebody out of shape now than the other way around.
Okay. So, yeah.
Great. So we better do the relaxation, because I imagine we could talk about this, which we often do,
Oh, yeah.
for hours.
We could, my favorite subject, so I'm here.
This time we have an audience. We probably better remember that. Okay.
Okay. I'm sure it's interesting to them anyway.
It is. Well, we'll be entertained anyway. Great.
Yeah.
So
So
we better do the relaxation. Fantastic.
so, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think that was a good lead into it anyway, for sure.
Definitely. Absolutely.
All right. Okay, so having covered all that, you've got just a little bit of an idea, maybe a better idea now at this stage of the value of the relaxation. So the more you value something, the more attention you pay to it. So we're going to settle ourselves down now, and hopefully you are in a room that you won't be disturbed. That would be marvelous. If you settle down either on the ground or on the bed, or if you're sitting in a chair, just settle yourself down now and close your eyes. That's great. Now you're just settling down, you're letting yourself just relax. You're letting yourself just sink down into the ground if you're lying on the floor, or on the bed, just sinking down into the bed. Or if you're sitting in the chair, you just feel your back just moving or sinking back into the back of the chair. So you're just letting yourself relax now. That's great. All right, now we're going to get you to pay attention to each part of the body step by step. And the reason that we do it that way is that I want you to pay attention to something other than what you normally pay attention to. Okay? And so for the amount of time, the 15 or 20 minutes that we spend in the relaxation, you're going to pay attention to this mechanism of relaxation instead of anything else. If your mind wanders away, just gently bring it back. Don't give out to yourself or stress yourself. Just bring yourself gently back and just line back up with that again. Okay, if you're lying on the ground or on the bed, I want you to let your feet fall off to each side. Your hands are down by your sides. The palms of your hands are facing upwards. And bring your attention up to your head and tuck your chin in. So you're tucking your chin in. You don't have your head falling back. You just tuck your chin in. If you're sitting in a chair, your feet are flat on the ground. You make sure your back is moved in against the back of the chair, and then you put your hands on your lap. The palms of your hands are facing upwards. That's great. Now, if you've been doing the relaxation for the last couple of weeks, you'll notice that as soon as we start into it, that you feel yourself dropping right into a deeper level of relaxation. If you're just getting started, you'll find that it might take you a week or two. But if you practice every day, then it takes you less time, so that each week that we do the relaxation, you get to a much deeper level. So I would suggest, to be honest with you, that you do a relaxation every day, at least one. If you have a bit of time, do another session if you want to. The more you do, the better, to be honest with you, at this stage, because you just release more and more of that energy. And that has a tremendous effect on you physically and mentally. That's great. All right, bring your attention to your feet. Let go of any tightness or tension in your feet. You're just letting it go now completely. You're letting that, all that tension now is just dissolving. Sometimes when you bring your attention, say, to your feet, you notice that you're actually holding them tight, which is not something you would normally even know that you were doing. But it's when you pay attention to it that you notice it, and you let go of all that tightness and tension there. Now, as soon as you let that go, you find that you feel like an energy, like a tingling sensation, or sometimes a heat flooding down into that area. That's great. Now bring your attention to your calves. You let go of any tightness or tension in the calves. Let it go now completely. That's really great. Let go of any tightness or tension in the calves now. You can imagine that you're holding them tight, and then just let it go. That's it. Bring your attention to your thighs. Any tightness or tension in your thighs, just let it go now completely. That's it. Let go of any tightness or tension now in your thighs. Bring your attention to your hips now, and let go of any tightness or tension in your hips. Just let it go completely. Just let it go now completely. That's great. Let go of any tightness or tension now in the hips. Just let it go completely. Bringing your attention now to the base of the spine. Any tightness or tension that you feel there, let it go now completely. And you'll find that it's like in your mind's eye that you can kind of see like an energy or a light building up in that area, in the area of the hips and then into the base of the spine. And then you're moving up vertebrae by vertebrae up along your back. And as you're letting go of all the tension right up along your spine, your back is just sinking down into the ground. That's fantastic. That's it. You're not arching your back now, you're just letting it sink right down into the ground. That's fantastic. And right up along to the back of your neck, let go of any tightness or tension in the back of your neck and let it go completely. Let go of any tightness or tension now in the back of the head. That's it. Just bring your attention to the back of the head. Let go of any tightness or tension there. All right. Bring your attention now to the top of your head. Let go of any tightness or tension there. Again, you'll find that there are areas like the back of your neck or the back of your head that can be held very tight, and you may not even notice it normally. But when you pay attention to it, you'll realize, oh, okay, and you just let go of any tightness or tension that you feel there. Bring your attention now to your forehead, letting go of any tightness or tension in the forehead. Just let it go completely. That's very good. Just letting it become smoother and smoother now. That's really good. Smoother and smoother now. Bring your attention to your eyes. You're just gently closing your eyes now. No pressure. Just gently closing your eyes. Bring your attention now down to your mouth. Just letting go of any tightness or tension you feel in your mouth. Just let it go completely. You'll find that your mouth will just open slightly now. That's good. Now bringing your attention down to your neck. Let go of any tightness or tension in the neck. Let it go now just completely. Very good. Let go of any tightness or tension you feel in your shoulders. Again, this is an area that you can hold quite tight, so just let it go, let it just relax completely. And down along your arms, let go of any tightness or tension there, and down into your hands, the palms of your hands. And you can feel an energy now in your hands at this stage. And as you become more and more relaxed, that energy just seems to get stronger and stronger now. Bring your attention now down to your chest. Let go of any tightness or tension in the chest. Let it go completely now. That's really good. Very good. Any tightness or tension now in your stomach, which is an area that you can hold quite tight. Just let it go now completely. That's it. Just letting it go now completely. That's it. Dropping deeper now, deeper into relaxation. That's it. Now you find yourself moving further and further into relaxation now. Body becoming even more relaxed. You'll find that each breath on the outward breath now drops you into an even deeper level now. Each breath as you breathe out now drops you even deeper now into relaxation, completely relaxed. And this frees out your circulation now, allowing the circulation to move freely through the body. Circulation now carrying all the nutrients that your body needs and carrying those nutrients up into the brain. And it fills the body and all of the vital organs now with the nutrients that they need as you become even more relaxed. As you move into an even deeper level of relaxation, you can feel that energy getting stronger and stronger now. And bring your attention up now to the top of your head. It's like you can see it in your mind's eye, like a light. And as you're watching it now, it just sweeps down through the body, and you can feel it passing through the body, passing through all of the cells. And the cells just light up brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter now, brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter now, brighter and brighter and brighter, and passing right through, cascading through the body, through all of the cells, out through the soles of your feet, and out to the palms of your hands, and moving on from you out to everyone belonging to you. And it just passes through them, and they just light up, and it just moves from them to everyone belonging to them. And it just keeps on going like a huge wave of light, passing over the whole globe of the world now, brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter now. Brighter and brighter and brighter now. And that's marvelous. Brighter and brighter and brighter now. That's fantastic. That's really, really marvelous. And just bring your attention now back to the top of your head. This time you can feel and see that light now. It's much brighter and you feel that tingling sensation. And then it just sweeps down through the body, out to the soles of your feet, out to the palms of your hands, out to everyone belonging to you now. As it moves out through them, it moves out from them to everyone else. And it's just an ever widening wave, like a cascade of gold light passing out through the whole body, out to everybody and out to everyone beyond that, and just keeps on going out in a wave of light, passing over the whole globe of the world. Brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter now. Brighter and brighter and brighter now. Brighter and brighter now. That's fantastic. That's really, really amazing. And you're beginning to realize, because you're experiencing it yourself, that that life in you has a direction and a purpose of its own. And one of its purposes is to go out to everybody else. Its natural movement is to go out to everybody else and to transform them and release their energy, which then goes out to everybody else, which continues on like a wave of light. Now, in your mind's eye, that energy now is getting brighter and brighter in the head, but you can also see it and feel it right through the whole body, because it's filling up your whole head, and then it's filling up each cell. And as it fills up those cells now, that imprints the perfection of that light, the perfection of your energy inside. It imprints it on all of the cells, and the cells, they get very, very excited because this is their natural state. And so it's returning them back to a natural state, and that's perfect health for those cells, bringing the cells right back to perfect health now. So you're bringing your attention up to your head again, and that light is very, very bright in your head. And as you're looking at it now, it sweeps down through the body, through every single cell now in the body, and they just are almost bursting with light and energy, passing through every single cell, out through the soles of your feet, out through the palms of your hands, and out to everyone belonging to you. And you can see in your mind's eye that as it imprints on them and just passes through them, they just light up. And you could see that they're transformed by that energy as it passes through them, and it moves on from them out to everyone belonging to them. Now, in your mind's eye, you can see the whole globe of the world, and you can see that light passing over the whole globe of the world, gathering momentum and becoming a huge wave of light, brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter now, brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter now, brighter and brighter and brighter, transforming everything that it touches now into that light, into that perfection. That's fantastic. And you're falling into an even deeper level of relaxation now. You feel this tremendous sense of being taken care of, that there's no pressure on you whatsoever, and that all concern is just dissolving completely as you allow more and more of that energy to pass through all of the cells. And in your mind's eye, you can see that light It's so bright. It's incredibly strong and incredibly bright. And that's getting stronger and stronger and stronger now, physically and mentally. And it has this incredibly transforming effect on you, where you feel incredibly well. And it's taking care of anything that you needed to take care of, dissolving everything into that light, transforming everything, no matter what the circumstances are, transforming it into that light now. And you feel incredibly well, totally transformed. That's really, really good. And you will notice that that will stay with you now throughout the whole week until we meet again. But also, it will just, you will notice that that energy, because you're able to relax and you're not under pressure in the same way because you've done the relaxation, that seems to emanate from you all day and out to everyone belonging to you. You don't have to do anything. You're just having a normal conversation, but this is going to just keep coming out from you, and everything and everybody that it touches, it will transform them. The same as it's transforming you. So you're just dropping into an even deeper level of relaxation now. And you're allowing that energy to pass through the mind and through the body, and it lines everything up now in that perfection. And you become even more relaxed now. Deeper and deeper into relaxation. Deeper and deeper and deeper into relaxation. And as you move to an even deeper level of relaxation, there's more and more of that energy, your energy, released. And it transforms the whole physical body and the mind and brings it back to absolute perfection and brings the mind back into a state of balance, dissolving anything of a negative nature, dissolving it completely now. It's like it's transformed by that light as it touches it. It just dissolves it completely and transforms it into itself. And that sense of well-being that you have will remain with you now throughout the whole day and right throughout the whole week. And I want you now to just let yourself relax again to an even deeper level, moving into an even deeper level now, becoming more and more aware of the movement of that. It's almost as if you're becoming familiar with the structure of that light and energy, with your own life. It's like you're being introduced to it and becoming aware that there is this energy and light that will take care of you and look after you. That's fantastic. Now, as we count from 3 back up to 1, you'll find yourself just gently and easily moving right back up to the surface. But you feel really, really well. And you will take with you this sense of well-being now. 3, gently and easily drifting back up to the surface, feeling very, very well. 2, gently now and easily moving back up to the surface. But this sense of relaxation now is remaining with you. And as we reach 1 now, the eyes just opening, but you're still taking with you now this sense of well-being, this sense of relaxation. And this will stay with you now throughout the whole evening and right out into tomorrow and the next day until we meet again. And do spend some time yourself in the relaxation every day. 1, gently now and easily moving right back up to the surface, feeling very, very relaxed and very well. That's great. Well done.
Fantastic.
Good, good. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
We actually, there was a question from somebody earlier on just wondering about yoga. Was there any type of yoga that is good or that you recommend? It's probably
Let me interesting question. No. I'd have to be honest with you. I'd have to find out who's still doing yoga classes that we trained.
Yeah.
I mean, terrible thing to say, but that's what I'd have to find out. I'd have to find out who was still doing that. Now we've trained hundreds and hundreds of teachers, so there are people out there who do the system that I'm talking about. What I'll do is, or maybe Jamie will do it. Somebody will find out.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
I mean, I know there's a couple of people. Margaret Brown in Nace is doing it. And there's a couple of people out there as well. I think Madam Monks in, I think she's over on the Dundrum side, over that way, and she's doing it. So there are a few people out there who are doing the yoga classes, and so I'll find out anyway.
Yeah, we'll find that out. It just, you maybe need to tell us where you are, Annabelle, and we can certainly help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just don't know. They're the one or two people that I know who are working away. But there are lots of people out there.
Yeah.
Using the same system that we that I trained in myself. You know. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, great. So thank you very much. We were entertained. I hope everybody else was, and thank you very much for doing the relaxation, Tom. That was awesome. It was brilliant. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, I hope everybody did, and they should practice during the week before. And the more times they do it, the better. Really, that's the thing.
Great. Tom, she's in Sydney, so.
Oh, in Sydney.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a bit more challenging, Annabelle. That's great. We'll that's a good one for us to mull over for a week.
I have to try where all our graduates are. I'm sure there's somebody in Sydney. No
probably is. Yeah. Great. And for those of you tuning in now, and really do take time to look at the nutrition events that we've been doing with Martin Ford, because it really does all tie in together. We covered minerals today, and it was fascinating, and as it always is. And so thanks again, everybody, for joining us. Thanks, Tom, for doing that for us. And we will see you for the last one. I managed to just maybe twist his arm slightly for one more in 2020. And oh dear. And then we'll see after that. Great. Brilliant. Thanks, Tom.
See you guys.
Cheers. Bye, everybody.